born and raised here, Joanne?
I was born and raised in this county.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And how far back can you trace your family?
I can trace my family way back. My great-great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather came to this county back years and years ago. His name was Raleigh Watson, and he came to this area, and he was a storekeeper on Middle Fork. And either he built a log cabin, or he already had one. And his son was born there. His son, and me. 4 generations born in the same log cabin.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's good heritage.
Does the log cabin still exist?
It exists, but it's been torn down. The man who bought it was my cousin, and he was going to move it back around on his property and live in it, but he got sick and he didn't get to. So it's stored in a barn. I would love to have it someday, but I don't think. Too old for that, I guess.
Well, you're never too old.
It's a good heritage. I'm just glad for that.
So what was life like for you growing up?
Life for me growing up was all work. Not much play. A little bit of play, but not much. We had a lot of chores to do, kept us active. That compared to the children nowadays, which they do not know even what chores are or anything like that. We had lots of chores, and it was farm life, and just tobacco, corn, gardening. That was our way of life. If we didn't raise it, we didn't have it to eat for the winter. I'd never went hungry a day in my life unless I was on a diet.
So, in your gardening, you said you did raise tobacco. So you worked in tobacco yourself.
Right.
And what tasks did you do?
Well, anything from helping the beds. They used to burn the beds back then with the big slabs and stuff, and we would help do that. And then Daddy would burn it, and it would be close to the house, and a big fire through the night, and everything was the old way when I was young. And then they'd burn it, and then from anywhere from weeding it to planting it to the hoeing it, the topping and the suckering and the cutting it. I didn't have to cut. He was afraid for me to cut because of the spear and the knife and stuff. But the hanging it in the barn, but the stripping it, taking it down, all that.
Did you get to go to the market?
No, never went to the market until I helped my sister one year and we went.
Anybody ever have tobacco poisoning?
No.
Ever hear anyone talk about that?
No.
And what about smoking? Did you all use the tobacco?
My dad smoked. He smoked a pipe a lot when we was kids. But now, me or one of my sisters smoked. My mom didn't smoke. And I smoked rabbit tobacco one year. I thought, I'll get away with that. There was a little plant that grew up on the hill, and they called it rabbit tobacco. And it had little tiny leaves about 2 inches long, and it was little and narrow, and we stripped that, and I rolled me one time. My mom said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm smoking this rabbit tobacco." She said, "I don't think so." So I thought it was legal, it wasn't real tobacco. But I wasn't allowed to do that either, but it was fun. Making me a little roll.
So tobacco is something that, we know now about health problems related to it. Did you hear anything about that when you were growing up and doing that?
No. A lot of people chewed. My dad had a spit can. It was horrible to have to empty all the time. He chewed and stuff like that. And probably he was allergic to it because he always had this hockey phlegm, that associated all the old people had spit cans and stuff like that. But no, we never heard nothing.
So people didn't caution you about secondhand smoke?
No, didn't know anything about secondhand smoke. I didn't even know that anything existed other than Elliot County when we was kids. And Bonanza came on once a week. It was just 3 channels on the television, so you didn't get I don't even remember commercials hardly on TV.
Totally different.
It was back when soap operas first came out. And my dad had a sawmill. He was up in the bottom one day and he was laughing. And when soap operas first came out, it was summertime, and me and my sister was kind of hooked on, what's going to happen next. So we would run out to the garden and we would strip off these big pole beans, and we had our chores to do, had to break the beans up. So when a commercial came on, we'd run to the garden as hard as we could, and we'd strip off these big, long Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and then we'd run back to the house, and my dad was in up the holler. He could see us run out there, and run back. So when he came in that night, he was laughing. He said, "What in the heck was the fire today?" Soap operas had come out, something to watch. So
now kids just watch it for hours, and there's no chores in between.
Yeah, there's no chores in between. I guess we was active that way.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about diabetes.
Okay.
So when you hear that word, what comes to your mind?
Diabetes, somebody who can't eat sugar, let's say, or has ate too much sugar.
And what's been your experience with diabetes then?
Well, my grandmother had it just before she died. She started losing weight, and my mom thought she needed to fatten her up. So she started giving her milkshakes at nighttime, and she didn't know the signs of diabetes. She was thirsty all the time, and she would drink big glasses of water, and my mom never was a clue to it. And then she started giving her, she said, well, she's losing weight, and they didn't take her blood sugar when they went to the doctor. So she said, well, I'll help her. I'll fatten her up. I'll give her milkshakes, and she took that freezer jam, strawberry freezer jam, and she would put that in there and made her, and she went into a coma. She just curled up like she was dying. I mean, it's like she was in a fetal position and everything. And when they had her checked, her blood sugar was just at stroke level, and she went into like a coma. But Mommy just thought she was getting old. Well, she was in her 90s, but she had diabetes. So.
Anybody else in the family?
Then my uncle, he had it before he died. And then my sister has it, my young sister. My mother didn't have it, nor my dad, but now my sister has it. She's diabetic.
And what about yourself?
No, but I have, sometimes my blood pressure my blood sugar drops, even when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow either I eat too much sugar and then I work the next day, or just all of a sudden he can just drop to where I get real shaky and have to have something. Mm-hmm. If I exercise. Mm-hmm. It's usually when I exercise. If maybe I've not eaten enough protein or something, some people say that now. Mm-hmm. But if I exercise, or if I'm out working, all of a sudden it just drops to where I have to make it back to the house to get something sweet to eat.
And having several family members, you've watched people take care of themselves, and what kind of challenges do you see that they have?
I think it's about the worst thing that you could have, because you have to monitor everything, and I don't know if I could ever do that or not. Have to watch every bite you eat. I mean, that would be the hardship, because I'm a popaholic. I crave pop, and it hurts my body when I do it. So it would be a struggle. And then when I have my blood sugar taken, it's normal. When I fast and they take it, there's nothing there, but I don't know what causes it to spike and to drop like that.
Mm-hmm. How do you support your sister? Is she an older sister, or?
No, she's 3 years younger than me, but now you can't do nothing with her. She eats her sugar too. She'll take a pill or whatever. She'll say, I have to have that, she said, because that keeps my sugar intact.
So she just does she take extra medicine?
I don't know. I'd say I'd say she does. She's not on a shot yet, so she's just on a pill.
Mm-hmm. And does she have some kind of an activity pattern? Go out and try to get some exercise?
Well, she does a little exercise, a little bit. Mm-hmm. She'll bush hog, or she's got a farm like too. But she's not real active, but she's trying lately. Mm-hmm. She's trying. And
what about yourself?
I'm pretty active other than painting. If I'm painting, I'm sitting for like 10 hours a day, every day, till I get the painting done, which I've just got another mural done at the nursing home. And it's beautiful over there. But I'm so confined with my work, like Linda does with her sewing. That's a machine. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're doing, it's not that activity.
So tell me about what it is your craft.
My craft is folk art. I make stuff with folk art, and I paint it and then sell it. to museums and art galleries.
And what kinds of things do you make?
I make usually animals and some whimsicals, but mostly animals, childhood animals.
And is this your way of supporting yourself?
Yeah.
You do pretty good?
Extra, yeah.
Extra, extra.
Yeah.
Extra money, not the...
Extra money, yeah.
Uh-huh. This is the bonus.
Yeah, it's the bonus. It's you stay home, and then I garden a lot too, and I can like crazy. Right now it's canning season.
So do you have a garden over the summer?
Mm-hmm.
How big?
Well, it's not real big, but it's had bushels and bushels of tomatoes and bushels of green beans, and I got grapes hanging right now that needs to be picked, and bushels, or not bushels, but gallons of blackberries, and
Wow.
tame blackberries. I still got some.
Mm-hmm. Do you make wine?
I've not made one,
Yeah.
and I'm on camera, so I'm not.
You're not going to confess up. I think you're allowed to make a little just for the family.
I think I'm going to make I'm going to try, but I'm not going to make it like they make the wine, but they say I do the grapes in the jar and put a little sugar with it.
And then use it on toast or...
No, you just drink it as a drink.
Oh,
Grape
yes,
juice.
I know what you're saying.
Grape juice.
Yes, I've had that too myself.
And I made one batch of jelly.
Okay. So you're a busy lady.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you.
How did you get into doing the craft work?
I'd lived in Ohio, and I'd worked in factories, and I worked for Airborne Express, and that was very physical. That kept my weight off of me. But I got sick. I was allergic to the jet fuel. I could not breathe hardly. So we moved from up there and come down here, and I needed something to make money at home. And my cousin, Minnie Atkins, the famous Minnie Atkins, bless her heart, she said, "Now, Joanne," I said, "I want to do something at home so I can make money." And she said, "Well, now you need to start whittling and making some money." So her husband sharpened my knife for me, little knife I had, so I made a sheep. It took me 3 days to make it, and I sold it to her for $5. So I said, I have got to find a way to make this faster. So she got me started in the folk art, and I've done really well. And then Gwenda Atkins, she wanted me to do a mural in town, and I had only done little paintings like this, and I said, I don't think I can do anything that big. But anyway, I got a scaffolding, and I hung on the side of the barns, and I painted my first mural, and everybody liked it. So then I've made 4 already. Now I've made 5, and I'm ready to start on another one.
So you're the lady who's responsible for the beautiful murals in the county.
Yes.
And are they... I've taken some photographs of a couple of them.
Oh, have you?
But are there professional pictures made of them and sold?
Well, I'd like to do that. That's what I'm wanting to do, is take a professional picture and then sell my prints.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing to do, I think, as well, because they tell interesting historic...
And I want to tell a story about them, too.
I was going to say, have you tried to tell the story that goes with the pictures?
I've told it to several people, to groups of people that come up, and I tell them about the scenes and stuff in the story, or in the picture. Yeah, I've done that. But I'd like to make a little book up and put the stories on. I think that would sell good.
Have you done that, the Heritage Festival that's this weekend? Are you...
We're supposed to be up there, yes.
Are you?
We're supposed to have a booth and set up this weekend. I don't have very much made. I'll just sell my folk art, but usually I try to make things for the little kids to buy, but I don't have any this year because I have just been swamped. I've been busy since day one.
So how does a person in, dealing with, let me say it like this. When I think about health, I think that it's not just being disease-free. It's also things like having a job or having an income and not worrying where your next meal is coming from. And here in the Appalachian region, it's not always so easy to get jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
So how do people get started doing this home industry work?
Well, I think in order to have you'd need a contact, somebody to try to help you that's already been there, done that. They can help you better than you can just try on yourself. Or just go where people, whatever it is that you want to do, go where you would sell your stuff and just take your product to them and see if they would like, just go window shopping and go around to different people and see if they would be interested in it. That would
And
help.
is that how you got
Well,
yourself started? Or?
Yeah, kind of. Anyway, I loved folk art for years, and then didn't even know that Minnie was my cousin until my sister told me. She's your cousin. So I'd met her, and we talked, and started going to the art meetings.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, well, and I made my first piece in the year 2000. And so she liked it. She showed it to different people that had bought stuff for their galleries, and they said, yeah, that's pretty good. So then I started making stuff. But you have to have a person to help you, I think, in order to get started.
So you have a group over here in Elliot County?
We meet at the schoolhouse now in Isaville. We did have a little art house, but we don't have it no more. We meet at the school, and it's tonight.
Oh, is it?
At 4:30, yes.
Okay. So you meet, what, once a month then?
Once a month,
Okay.
if we can.
So we'll give a little advertisement.
Yeah, once a month, first Thursday of the month at the Isaville Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a potluck afterwards, so we have a real good fellowship.
Everybody welcome?
Everybody welcome, yes.
And how big is the group?
Oh, sometimes 15 to 20, maybe, sometimes. It all depends if nobody's busy and they can come.
And does everyone do a different craft?
Some people just loves crafts, or loves the arts.
Uh-huh.
Some people don't do anything, but they like to attend the meetings and come and be with us.
That's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
All right, so now let's talk about the meal afterwards.
Okay.
How healthy is the meal?
The meal has got some sweets in it, but
Okay.
usually it's got a lot of vegetables. A lot of people like the soup beans and cornbread, or the shuck beans, or the greasy beans, and then they'll have meat and bread, and then they'll have their desserts.
Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes people think that there are good foods and bad foods. But what we really know now, it's not really so much that all food is okay. Some might be more nutritious than other, but it's really about portion size.
Right.
You know, I always get tickled when I go to some places to eat and they give you a big platter that looks like it could serve 3 people, or go to covered dish dinners sometimes and you kind of need sideboards or a second tier or something. 2 plates, 3. Yeah. So, do you think about portion size? Is that something that you're...
Well, when I try to diet, I do portion size. Sometimes I just eat vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times my problem is I eat too late at night.
Mm-hmm.
But I like my vegetables. I love them.
Diets are a problem. You know, a lot of us have just been on diets off and on all our life. And I just wonder what you think about what would it take to really change your routines? So you never had to diet again, you just changed your...
That would be wonderful. Someone told me the other day, said diets don't work. That's this lady, she never eats sweets. I told her I thought I was going to beat her up. She said, diets, I said, I'm going to go on this 3-day diet. I've got to lose some weight. Diets don't work, honey. She said, just make changes, subtle little changes every day, and then you'll be skinny. I said, I think I'm just going to have to beat you up. Because she don't eat a cookie, she won't eat nothing that's got sugar in it. She is whole wheat this and whole wheat that, and whole grains and all that. But she's a real good woman, I like her.
Well, sometimes I just like to talk to people about thinking about small steps. You know, you can't change everything at once. It's just taking one step at a time.
Well, if I could just start doing that. Do you have a thing where you tell people what to do?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't. But I know people who could.
Well, you could say, well, what to do.
Uh-huh.
What small step would you start with?
And
quit eating late at night.
That would be one good one.
Yeah.
You know, and even thinking more about portion size. There's a new the USDA has just come out with a new called My Plate, and you know we used to have a food pyramid and all of these different things that changed over time. They just came out this summer with what they call My Plate, and so now it's got half the plate, which is vegetables, and
That's
then,
a good idea.
and then grains, and then this portion of meat. So if you think about your plate being sections of
Somebody's locked out. I don't know why that would lock. I got in it.
just having your plates, thinking about the portion size.
Yeah. Do they have a certain plate?
Yeah, do you use the internet?
Yeah, I can.
Just in Google, put my plate.
My plate. And you can buy this plate?
Well, you don't have to buy it. I mean, it's just a visual. When you see it,
it would be good to have a plate, like maybe a plastic one or a Melmac one that you could hand out to the people in the county and have it like colored. And then that way when they went to eat, they would put so much on each one. That would be a good idea to help people instead of looking at that. Don't you think that would be a good idea?
That would be a good project, and you could actually sell then.
Well, not me, but Diabetes Corporation
Could. Yeah.
could.
It might be. So one of the concerns we have right now is preventing type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
Because it's on
And the type 2 is what? The kind that's already...
Type 2 diabetes is
I never can get that right.
Okay, type 1 is the one you get when you're a child.
Okay.
And you're insulin dependent.
And you're, okay.
And the type 2 is the one where it used to be you were 40, 50, 60 years old before you got it.
Okay.
But what we're seeing now are young people getting it
Yeah.
because of the overweight and obesity problems.
Oh.
So I just wonder what first of all, do you see children that are overweight and obese?
Oh yeah. When I was in school, I got in on the last of the 2-room schoolhouses, the country schools, okay? I was the heaviest one there, and I was not fat. I was just chunky. But now they was all skinny because we'd walk to school, we'd play games, everybody was active. You was outside all the time, and you had chores to do when you got home. But the kids nowadays, they don't have nothing, and we never seen Pop hardly. I mean, it was like seeing a Cadillac when I was a kid or something. I mean, it was just not ever seen or never got, But now it's just all fast food, and we never knowed what McDonald's was when I was a kid. We never knowed what a hamburger was hardly. So, or a French fry. So
what do you think we could do?
The food has changed. They need to be more exercise. They need to just get rid of all the fast food, get rid of all the Mountain Dew, and if they could do that, I think, and more exercise. Kids need more chores outside.
One of the things that we've noticed is that a lot of parents really don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
Do you?
We always had fresh food out of the garden or canned. Only thing my mom bought was flour and meal and salt and soda and stuff like that. We ate all of our vegetables. And I love vegetables. I was raised on vegetables.
And what about the processed foods today?
Yeah, that's a big thing too. I don't know what that MSG or M whatever that stuff is does to you. And it's all got so much sodium in it. Even a hot dog or whatever.
And we eat so much of that fast food. I'm saying fast food, but food we put in the microwave or food we put in an oven or food we just add water to or heat up.
Yeah, it's all bad.
What do you think we could do in this community to help people know that they need to change their ways?
I don't know. If they ever will change their ways, because they like that food. You'd have to have something that tastes good. Maybe have cookouts or something with healthy food. That might work. I don't know.
You're not going to come up with the answer for me today, huh?
I'd like to.
I wish you would.
have healthy cooking food or something other.
Well, it's kind of interesting, and I don't know how much TV you watch these days, but we have 300 or 500 stations we can pick from, and now we have
You can
food
only
networks.
watch one at a time.
We have these food networks,
Yes.
right? You ever watch cooking shows?
Yeah.
Well, cooking shows it's kind of interesting. The more cooking shows that are on, the less cooking people seem to be doing.
Yeah. I think a lot of people's just busy, but a lot of people don't hold a job down, and they have plenty of time to go to the store, but then their kids all crave this and then they seem like they can be able the ones to afford all the fast and the junk food stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be able to cook better. I don't know. Maybe if you would tell them how bad their kids would be if they're going to die or something. I don't know. I don't know how you'd reach them.
And do you have any ideas about how to increase the activity of children?
Invent some kind of game that gets them outside. Or have all the Nintendos and the Game Boys on to blow up like some kind of chip inside of them.
Well, I don't think that's likely to happen. It might be a solution.
Maybe when it goes over and it nukes all the electronic stuff, that would be good. A flyover, you know.
Yeah.
Example.
Never know.